Hi guys, welcome back to Your Own Watches. I'm Sam, and today I'll be doing a collection review of the SARB033, which I have here. So I've owned this watch for a few months now. I've had the opportunity to wear it quite a bit. You may notice it's not currently sized to my 6.5 inch wrist because I've let my dad borrow it while we're on lockdown. Prior to getting this watch, I'd thought about it for about a year and a half. I was a bit torn between this and the SARB035. However, this one fell into my hands during a trade deal. And I felt like it was just a good time to experience it. Without further ado, let's talk about this Sarb. So first up, if you're not aware, the 033 I have here is the black dial variant. There's also an 035, which is cream dial variant, but besides that difference, they're the same watch. If you didn't know, these Sarb watches are Seiko JDM releases, meaning Japanese domestic market. So they're only actually intended for Japan, not the rest of the world. However, due to the popularity and enthusiasm behind these watches, there are now many in-hand collectors worldwide, and they're not really difficult to find anymore, despite the fact they are now discontinued. Okay, let's start off with the dimensions. The watch measures 38mm in diameter without the crown, and about 40.7mm in diameter with the crown. It's 44mm lug to lug and 11.5mm thick. The lug width is a convenient 20mm, meaning it's easy to find a variety of straps for Sarb, and this is part of the reason they're often referred to as strap monsters by the owners. The bracelet may look square in photos, but actually tapers very slightly. Finally, the sign crown is about 6.5mm, so it's not a small crown by any means, but it's not huge. Now, in my opinion, the finishing on this watch is a strong point, especially considering its price. The case has a combination of brushed and polished surfaces, the top of the case being vertically brushed, and the sides of the case being nicely polished. The top of the case has an interesting geometry. I actually didn't notice it until I owned this watch. It has a kind of slight step separating the brush finish on top from the polished sides, and it looks kind of like an extra layer on top of the case, like a skin. It's a little odd, but I guess they were attempting to make the watch look smaller or something. It's an interesting design decision in my eye. Turning the watch over reveals the screw down display case back, showing off the watch's 6R15 movement. Because of the screw down case back and presumably some gaskets around the non-screw down crown, the SARB033 is 10 bar or about 100 meters water resistant. Now the 6R15, while somewhat bland looking, is quite a nice movement. It has 23 joules, very nice 50-hour power reserve, hacking seconds, manual wind, and a quick set date, all of which makes the watch a strong contender for a daily watch in my opinion, as the date function and ease of setting really makes it practical. As I said, the 6R15 movement isn't particularly fancy, and some say it doesn't deserve a display case back, but I think it's kind of a nice thing to have, especially if you're getting into mechanical watches. It's a great movement to see, and it does have quite a nicely finished rotor and a respectable level of finishing throughout. Now the Sarb's bracelet is actually one of the things people warned me about. Many of my friends who had Sarb said the bracelet left lots to be desired, and one of them even said to not bother and to swap it straight to a strap. Now, while I don't have a lot of experience with Oyster style bracelets, this one feels okay, especially considering the price. It is a pain to fit, both due to its finicky pin and collar system, which Seiko likes to use on some of its lower end bracelets, and the really pathetic 2 sets of micro adjustment holes. For reference, my Seiko SKX 013 has 5. This means it can be hard to get a comfortable fit, and it's probably why a lot of people don't like this bracelet. Despite the minimal micro adjustment, I do actually really like the clasp. It's milled and feels very sturdy. It also locks into place with a very satisfying click, and is released with this double-sided pusher here. It's also nicely marked Seiko, which is a pretty nice touch. In my opinion, a highlight of this watch is its glossy black dial, accented by really nicely polished hour markers, each with a small amount of lume towards the centre of the dial. It even has a really well incorporated date window, which in my opinion should be part of the criteria for a daily watch, as it's probably the most useful complication. The dial is very clean, with only an applied, polished Seiko lettering at 12, and 2 main lines of text at 6, in a very nice font, which reminds a lot of people of Grand Seiko. These 2 lines read automatic and 23 joules. Then right down by the 6 o'clock marker, it also reads in smaller lettering, Japan 6R15 on the left, and on the right, -OOT1R2, which I looked up, but I couldn't find the meaning of. So comment below if you know that. The Sarb's hands are nicely polished to match the hour markers, and the hour and minute hands have enough lume to keep them practical, yet still be formal. while still looking refined and not too sporty. They're also probably all the perfect length. The hour hand falls just short of touching the hour markers, and the minute hand reaches just outside the hour markers, and the second hand sweeps over the second track on the chapter ring perfectly. So that's all the components of the SARB033. Let's talk about how it wears. Now initially I thought the Sarb would wear the same as my SKX 013, as in my mind at the time, two 38mm watches from Seiko should feel the same. However, despite being thin in the SKX, the Sarb's larger dial and thinner bezel actually make it look bigger on my 6.5-inch wrist. For reference, the Sarb has a 31mm crystal and the SKX has a 27mm crystal. For me personally, as someone who's used to wearing a simple 34mm watch, the combination of the polish finishing and the overall larger dial than my SKX meant I don't wear this watch as much. It does fit my wrist as the lug tug is small enough that it doesn't overhang. However, I'm used to wearing smaller watches with a much smaller face, so I wasn't quite comfortable with this yet. But I think if you prefer a watch to fill out more of your wrist, or if you just have a larger wrist than my 6.5-inch one, the proportions of the SARB033 are excellent. I think the dimensions really make it a very strong contender for a daily watch for a lot of people. And if you're someone used to, say, 42mm sports watches, and you want a classier, dressier piece for, say, work, the 38mm Sarb is great. Now, as I mentioned before, these watches are discontinued now. So the prices have started to rise, however they've not really peaked yet, I don't think. You can see them on Chrono24 and similar sites for up to £500 in complete sets. And while this seems like a lot, I think it does still offer value at this price point. Obviously I'd try to find one for less than that. Personally I think they're worth about £300, but I think if you've been considering one of these, you should definitely go for it, as they're only going to get harder to get from now on, and the prices are only going to rise really. So there's my collector's review on the Seiko SARB033. If you liked it, please like and comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe. And also check out our other videos and our podcasts that we do every week. Yeah, see you next time.
I do what I want, I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing until